Hey everybody, and welcome to our session for EdcampHome 3.0 on building community in the classroom and beyond. I'm going to get our folks that are in the Hangout with us today to introduce themselves, and I will go last. So Liz, can you tell us who you are, where you come from, what you teach, and any fun fact about yourself?
So I am here in California in Rancho Cucamonga. I teach high school AP Gov and World. I flip my history classes, and I just love trying to find new tech and bring it in and trying to get them to take more of the ownership of their learning.
Awesome. Matthew.
Good evening, Victoria, and shoot, wait, I got it, don't tell me, I got it. Liz.
Yes.
You just gotta hover over the little picture thing. I've never done a Hangout before, so I have no idea what I'm doing. But it's fun. I mean, I'm trying to be in that boat. Like, I'm a Facebook guy, but you have to. You can't not. It's like, okay, I'll shush. So who am I? I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. And I'm like the movie guy at the Lab School of Washington, which is a small school in Washington D.C. And EdCamp is the best. Like, it's the next PD thing. So I've been to 3 in-person ones, and they're great. And this is my first EdCamp Home. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. And I'm Victoria Olson. I'm a grade 3-4 and technology teacher at West Langley Elementary in Langley, British Columbia, Canada. So I'm not in Canada right now. I'm actually in California. So hi, Liz. I'll wave to you from wherever you. Where are you in California? Liz? Or did she freeze? She might have frozen. Oh, that's too bad. Anyway, right now I'm in San Carlos, California, which is a few minutes from San Francisco. So I'm in Northern California right now on holidays. So I'm enjoying that, but EdCamp homing in the middle. So our topic today is building community in the classroom and beyond. So I don't know, maybe we could start with some questions, like what we are here to find out, that kind of thing.
How do you build community in the classroom, Victoria?
How do I build community? That's a really good question. I think it depends on who I'm trying to build community with, and I think if we're going to start with just looking at the classroom itself, I always try to build community with the students by, first of all, creating relationships kind of between myself and them personally. Oh, hi, Liz. You got booted out. Hi.
I got back in.
Weird. All right, yeah, we're just chatting about how we build community, and I think just kind of nurturing some of the relationships the students have amongst themselves and trying to help solidify inclusion in the peer groups and things like that. So just kind of setting that tone for, everybody's a part of this experience and we're all a team type of deal. So that's how I get started. We use a program in my classroom called Mind Up, which is, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's Goldie Hawn is actually the person behind it, and the Hawn Foundation endorses it, which is kind of, everyone kind of goes, huh, weird, because she's not someone you'd imagine doing that. But it's basically a program about mindful education and getting kids to start considering what mindfulness looks like and feels like and how it is, what it is to be mindful internally as well as to others. So that has definitely helped build community in my classroom because kids will start to remind each other and say, are you being mindful, and things like that, which is really neat. So
I'm definitely going to look into that.
yeah, it's a K-8 program, but I think it has benefits. Like, I mean, it benefits me. Like, we do these breathing exercises throughout the day, and I calm down too. So I think it has benefit everywhere.
Do you structure it? Do it as needed? Like, how do you build mindfulness into your day?
The program calls for 3 breathing sessions a day, so it kind of sounds a little hokey when you think about it, but if you really sit down and take 6 deep breaths, like right now, just take 6 deep breaths and tell me that you're not more calm and that you're like more alert in your thinking. The idea is that you practice focusing on your breathing, and by being able to control your physiology, you actually start to control your psychology. So you start to know that you have control over what it is you do and your impulsive behavior and so on and so forth. But think about, like, as you drive, your mind's constantly on other things. It starts to get you to be more alert on what's in the moment in front of you, and using that language with kids is really important because they're often not really in the moment, especially at school. So it has helped them to just focus and be better workers and things like that, just from 3 breathing exercises a day. And
you did 3 a day all year. All your 3 a day.
Yeah. Yeah, and the kids, like, it gets to the point where, I mean, I teach little kids, so grade 3 and 4, but it gets to the point where they start to lead the sessions, and it's not me anymore. So I get to kind of watch them and see who's really into it and who's not, and who just needs that, you know, I can kind of see who's going to work well based on how they're doing in those sessions, which is really interesting. So.
Like in September, was it like 3 breaths and you built to 100? How did it sort of build as the year went on?
It's about a 2 to 3 minute exercise. So they just do deep breathing, and you ask them to focus on their breath. And it's probably like you do it after all your major breaks. So in the morning, right when you get to school, after our recess break, and after our lunch break. And it has just totally changed the tone of my classroom to be way more positive, and everybody just wants to help each other. And I mean, that's not all that it takes. I think there's other aspects, like I allow kids to have choice and their student voice to kind of shape the rules in the classroom. But at the same time, like, that's a foundation of all of that. So.
I'm always nervous about, like, I have a lot of ADHD boys. I would imagine that you get hard buy-in. Who's difficult to buy in, and how do you sort of get around sort of the hard buy-in kids?
As far as the mindfulness piece goes, like the exercises, I think a lot of it, there are some kids who don't feel comfortable with it, I think really is what it comes down to. And for them, I just say, like, okay, if you're not going to participate, then at least you need to, you know, look down at a spot on the floor. Like, most people close their eyes, but, like, look down at a spot on the floor and just acknowledge the fact that everybody else is doing this, and eventually most of them come around, actually. You'd be surprised. And I even have my kids with special needs. Like, I had one boy with autism who he didn't really ever want to completely engage all the time, so he kind of chose if he would stand and participate, or if he'd actually, by the end of the year, he was sitting every session. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't have too many resisting, but again, they're little, so it's a little different. So what do you guys do to build community?
I try to get my students to remember that we're going to be respectful beyond the words, the obvious, like, curse words that you shouldn't say in a classroom. We're not allowed to tell each other shut up or stupid or use the R word. And, like, we will stop class and somebody like, oh, they said the wrong word, and we will wait till they apologize. Just, like, respect each other's, and then we take pictures of the classroom on Instagram and try to connect with the kids where they're at. Trying to foster, like, some sense of community that way, and the kids will find stuff and, like, tag me in random stuff that they find online, like, oh, they were paying attention to that in class. So we try to do things like that, and just every once in a while, like, screw the curriculum, we'll just have a live class and do it that way. Like, there's a reason why I'm the last world history teacher in the pacing, but you know what? I think it's important that you share that. You know, sometimes you just gotta take a break and let's just do something different.
So explain the Instagram. You have one class Instagram for the whole class, or everybody has their own, or how does that work?
I have a class Instagram at Mama Patroon, and so we'll take a picture, like, what did we do today? And sometimes the kids will be like, Ms. Ramos, I got an A in my Spanish class, and they're like holding it, waiting for me to take that picture. We'll post it. Woo! And we also did the Ashton Kutcher video that went viral when he got the Nickelodeon award, Get Your Sexy On. And so, like, this is sexy, so they want that props for, is this sexy? So it's just a lot of pitch stuff, and they'll tag the picture on the Instagram and, like, getting sexy, or they'll post something on their Instagram and tag me in the Instagram post sexy, and, like, I'll screenshot it and retweet it, just, like, random things like that.
How old are your students, Liz?
10th and seniors, so they're, what, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Did you have to get buy-in from administration, like to post student image, or are they old enough that you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff?
They're old enough where we don't have to worry about it, and plus the principal sees the tweets. I'm on Twitter. He follows my class Twitter. Plus we have a poster with QR codes in the back of the classroom that go to the Twitter, the Instagram, the class Weebly, and Soccer Tip, and all the stuff. So, like, just pushing them, trying to get them used to those kind of things.
Okay, so Liz, you are down with social media. Tell me, give me the nutshell of you mentioned like 8 things. Like what's your social media setup and what works and what works well for you? So the Instagram works well.
Yeah, Instagram works well for like it's our diary. So if the kids want to know what did we do that day, they can go see that picture of it, and it's just like random things at school, like plays. I'll post a picture on that. So we do that, and then I use Twitter also. So like I find articles or videos, and I'll share them out on Twitter for the class. The kids know if they have a question, don't frickin' email me. Like send me something on Instagram or Twitter, and I will be faster. You'll get a faster response from me that way. So we use that, and then we've done today's meet to connect with other high school government classes, and we've done like live chats. So like when President Obama did his Syria speech, we connected with a class over in Michigan. For the State of the Union, we had 5 states where we had kids chatting. So trying to use that, not just community in our class, but getting my kids to get used to talking with other students as well.
Tell me about today's meet. That's new to me.
It's a back channel, so not all my students want to be on Twitter, want to have an account, and their parents don't want them, so I say this is an alternative we do. So it's like a little room where you create this room, you get a URL, and the kids just log in, and they have a conversation. They can, it's 140, I think it's 140 characters as well.
Oh, I've done that. It's just a back channel.
It's a back channel.
I'm going to share the link on the EdcampHome hashtag right now.
Yeah, I have that. So you just do a back channel like chat with government classes in other schools? Did I hear that right?
Yeah. And like you could do like something that you're doing in class. Like so we watched this CNN video in my class on immigration, and the kids can post comments and thoughts on there as well.
Whoop, so Cheryl just breaked in. Sorry.
Back channeling.
Liz, your Twitter handle is Liz Ramos S, right?
Pardon me?
Your Twitter handle is Liz Ramos S, right?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is History Techie.
Oh, okay. I got the wrong.
And then when I tweet with my students, I tweet at Ramos class. So I have one just for the classroom, and then one for all the PLN stuff.
Ah, there we go.
But I show them both. Like I'll show the tweet deck with all the columns, and like, what?
Yeah. All right. Well, Cheryl, we got you in. So how are you doing? Oh, no. Did she freeze?
She was here a second ago.
She was. Well, I see her still.
Sure.
I've had a couple people. Liz, this is how Liz froze.
Oh, I hear her.
Is that tech frustration we hear?
I'm having. Can you? There's a terrible storm in Miami. There's a terrible storm here, and I have horrible connections. But yes, I'm Cheryl from Miami. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Oh.
No. Oh, okay, great. Thanks. Don't wait
okay,
for
well,
me.
you just jump in whenever you want to. So, Matthew, you said you do video. Is that correct? Like you're...
Yes, so I'm like the movie guy at my school. It's for community.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Hi, Cheryl. I was just saying I'm the movie guy at my school. I don't know. I mean, anything you do is community building, right? So I don't know that I do anything specific for it, but I don't know. I'll share my YouTube page because it's just got a lot of neat stuff.
I'm gonna try in here.
But beyond that, maybe people will find this interesting. Our little kids do responsive classroom. It's like I don't know. You guys have heard of responsive classroom? It's like a thing for community building. Anyway, it's a thing where it's what do you call it? Social emotional learning. Yeah, so they do that, and the little kids do responsive class. It's a half an hour a day every day in the morning, and it's like community and team building games and these kinds of things. And they've had good results with that. It didn't work so well for us in the middle school, so they're struggling with. They have an advisory at the end of the day, and they're really struggling with it. My school has a lot of ADHD boys, and so it's sort of hard to get buy-in. So yeah, that's what we do. That's our like explicit community building. Like this is us trying to build community. I was an advisor 1 year, and I just loved it because I can. Some teachers, if you just like chatting with kids, like you can just sit there for half an hour and just I can talk about their weekend. Like on every Monday, I would just talk about their weekend, and we do that for half an hour during advisory, and I just learned so much about them and that kind of thing. And if we had nothing to do, like if we had absolutely nothing to talk about, you could just Google like interesting questions for teens, and like everybody got to pick a question, like I don't know, what are you afraid of, or you know what I mean, what like anything, like just talk about for advisory, like you're just trying to get them to talk about anything that's meaningful to them. That's not like like Britney Spears or something, that's not. Anyway, so those are the two creative community building things that we do: advisory in the middle school and then responsive classroom in the lower school. So that worked pretty well.
That's cool. Yeah, like the Mind Up thing I was talking about is a social emotional initiative as well. So SEL is kind of, I was in an SEL cohort for my teaching degree actually, and it's kind of one of those, I hopefully it's an up and coming thing. We were told all the way through it was an up and coming thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it catches on with some of those other groups that are hard to reach. Cheryl, you can hear us, right?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your feed seems to be better.
Yeah. I moved a little closer to the router, so we'll see.
All right. So can you tell us a little bit about you and where you come from and what
Sure.
like you said you're from Miami, but what do you do?
I am a high school ESOL instructor. I teach English to students who don't speak English. I have students from about 63 different countries. Most of them are Spanish speakers, but they're from all over. And I'm really interested in looking at different ways to connect and create community beyond the classroom walls with my students. So one of the things that I have really gotten into in the past 4 years is using a LMS SMS called Edmodo. And I try to really connect with my students and their parents and all of their stakeholders by using that management system. So I just wanted to drop in and see what other ways other people had that they were creating a collegiality and collaboration with their students as well.
Cool. How are you? So you said you use Edmodo.
Yeah.
How are you finding that helps kids? Like, I mean, if they're language learners, I think written language is really hard. Like, so is how.
Right.
So how is that working with the community piece?
Yeah, it's very difficult. The great thing about Edmodo is, don't tell my students, but at the bottom of the page there's a translation button, and they have about 17 languages that you can translate all of the framework for Edmodo in. It won't translate what I put in as a teacher, but all of the prompts, click here, do this, go to this app, all of that they can translate into another language. But for me, it's not as much about the language because I can overlook that. They can send me a picture, or my dog's joining in. Sorry. They can they can communicate with me in a different way. But for me, it's about letting them know, especially for a lot of them who are coming from countries that are war-torn, that there's a community of people here who care about you, and we're all going to get the learning together. So I'm not so worried about whether or not the parents can communicate in English with me. I happen to speak many different languages, so we're able to communicate in other languages. But it's about really having them understand that there's a sense of community, and once the school bell rings, my job isn't over. That I'm still there to help them and help them figure out what life is like in the United States. Does that make sense?
That's awesome. I love the once the school bell rings, my job isn't over.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it is for any of us. I mean, it's 9:39 here in Miami, and we're, I don't know about the rest of you where you're from, but we're all sitting at an ed camp right now when, you know, we could be at a bar or we could be getting ready for World Cup or whatever. So I think that I'm no different than Matt or you, Victoria, or anybody else that's here. I think we all, at least that's my belief, that we all are teachers beyond the ringing of the classroom bell.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, as far as building community goes, I think that that's true. Like, you need to be available and to be corresponding with your students, especially if they're not familiar with the kind of culture that comes with a school here in North America, at least. I can't really speak for everyone, but I'm Canadian. Like, I mean, I feel the same way.
Yeah, and my school is huge. There's 3,600 students at my school, and you just get lost. And I think that every student needs to have a champion, like Matthew, you were talking about in your advisement class. I used to teach middle school. I love advisement. It's my favorite part of the day, where you can just make those connections with your students, and then, you know, they leave you a note, you know, I need help with this, or, you know, I'm having a fight with my mom, or in high school it's things like, you know, I think I might be pregnant, and you can make those connections with kids with that advisory period. I think it's so crucial at the middle school level. I love teaching middle school.
Do you guys have any experience, like Matt's talked about it, but Liz, do you have any experience with advisory blocks?
We have a 39-minute, 29-minute time with students. It's in where you have a time to work more one-on-one with kids. It's not a class that you teach, and that has helped to foster a community. I do it with my Academica kids, and that's a target group itself, but then I also have other kids at me that come in and they use it for like study hall or just to hang out, and we'll finish working on projects. So you do that, and like you were saying, like they need somebody that they can come to and talk to, and it's crazy sometimes, like the stories and what our kids go through. It's crazy, and sometimes they just need that one teacher that's going to believe in them and you can talk to. Like I had this one kid, he came in one day with this towel princess, and then he's like, "Oh, you're going to take a picture, put it on Instagram." I'm like, "Okay." So he shows this Barbie doll princess, and his nickname became Princess. And he had some problems with some of the security, I believe, and they were down on this kid. And he would come late to class and always had a hat on, but, you know, if he just prove it, or maybe like tap it in the head, and he would do it, but they had such a hard problem with him. But I think you just need to, like, listen to the kids and not just be, like, on them. Because at the end of the year, he wrote me a letter that literally had me in tears, and the kids need somebody that they can talk to, and that a class where they feel safe and that they don't feel like they're being yelled at. So I think when you can bond with the kid or be a voice of reason with them, it's powerful for them.
Yeah. And I think that there's some research out there. I can't remember the citation, but it's basically says if a kid can connect with at least one adult in a building, then the chances of them getting through school successfully are higher, like significantly. So that is really neat to hear that you're kind of that teacher that people can go to and connect with. So good job.
I think that everybody just wants to, whether you're a student or an adult, even a teacher at a school, I think that everybody just wants to feel like I belong somewhere and somebody cares about me. And middle school is such a crucial time when you're trying to figure out what kind of student you are, what kind of person you are, where you fit in, how you fit in. I think those years are really the make or break years for a lot of students in American high schools, and I'm sure North America, Canadian high schools as well.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of clout too in, like we were talking about social media earlier, in having social media, a community online that celebrates the kids, and that's something that our schools worked really hard on, and I've worked really hard on in our class too. I know, Liz, you've been talking about your Instagram. My kids' theme is, do you know the Minions from Despicable Me?
Mm-hmm.
The yellow guys, yeah. So we are the Edu Minions, and we're just a team of people that have to work together to kind of create all these experiences with each other. And I didn't really expect a theme like that to take off, but it became our Twitter handle, it became our website, it became all these things, and the kids just love it. And they were, at the end of the year, writing me letters like that said, you know, I was so proud to be part of this, like, so proud to be one of the Minions, and you know what I mean? Like, it was really cool.
And one of the things that I did on Edmodo is, you know, Edmodo is all about, this is our wall, and this is where we post our learning and our homework and our assignments. But I created a group, and I called it the social scene. And my students were allowed to post anything that was school appropriate in there. So I had students, you know, today's my birthday, and will you ask, I hope so-and-so asks me to prom, and here's pictures from homecoming. So I agree, Victoria, that students need to have that social aspect where they can go and sort of be themselves with their classmates outside of the school hours. So that's one of the things that I did, is I set up what's called social groups, sort of like the Instagram account, but it was on Edmodo. So
cool.
The kids loved it.
Okay, so we are, like, I know this seems crazy, but we're pretty much out of time. So do you guys have any, yeah, I know, isn't it crazy? Do you guys have any last minute, like, things you want to chat about, questions,
shouldn't they?
sharing?
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you got your technical difficulties sorted out. Matthew, anything?
No, it's just this is my first hangout, and did a great job facilitating Victoria. And one like random question: what is Liz's lower third pixelated on anybody else's screen, or is that?
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone now.
It was, yeah, it was.
We don't know what that is. It's just like some random bug or something.
I don't know. It could be her internet connection.
Turn it up.
Oh, right.
Because if you don't have a really strong connection, like yours is far more pixelated than Cheryl's is.
Finally.
Yeah. So.
Jean, are you out there? Jean Barons?
I am. Yeah, I'm here.
I think Jean's left.
Oh,
no,
never
I'm
mind.
here.
Oh no, she's still here.
Yep.
I still see her, but I can't see her image. Or...
You put something in chat. I just saw that.
Yes, I said hi all.
Oh yeah.
Well, we do have to wrap up anyway, so
Thanks.
I'm gonna stop the hangout, or stop the broadcast at least. But thank you guys for joining in, and hopefully you had fun at your first session of Ed Camp Home.
Thank you. Bye.